Hello everybody, Peter Knight here for Inspirational Landscapes Extreme Geography. I want to say a little bit about the moon. Now, we're all familiar with the moon, we see it from wherever we are on the Earth, but we always see the same side of the moon. Because of the way the moon's orbit works, as it goes around the Earth, it always shows the same side of itself to us. The far side of the moon never spins around and points in our direction, so we never see that. For the whole of human history, up until very recently when we built spaceships that could orbit the moon, and now recently we've sent a robot rover onto the far side of the moon, until that, through the whole of human history, we never saw, and we still from Earth can't see, that far side of the moon, call it the dark side of the moon. But now we've accessed the far side of the moon, we can see the far side of the moon, we know what it looks like. So what do you think about that? How do you feel about that? How does that make you feel as a geographer? What kind of ideas does it bring to mind, looking at that from a geographical perspective? You might be thinking very obviously about things like exploration, territory. Here's a new area, terra incognita, the new Australia, the new Antarctica. You might be thinking about the politics of discovery. Who's going to own this far side of the moon? Can we put claims on it in the same way that we put claims on Antarctica, for example? Or maybe you think about space science, or maybe you think about lunar geology, and why the different sides of the moon look different. Why is it that the far side of the moon has a different looking surface from the side of the moon that we're familiar with and looking at from Earth? So there are lots of different things that might spring to your geographical minds when we just start thinking about this idea of the moon, the dark side of the moon, the fact we've never really seen that, but now there's access to it and we have seen it. There are lots of geographical issues that might spring to mind. Those of you who are doing this as part of the Inspirational Landscapes module, I've asked you to go away and think about that and pop some ideas up onto the discussion board, just to share ideas, or onto the Facebook page. Just share some ideas about what springs to mind on the basis of what I've just said and just thinking about the fact of the far side of the moon. When you've done that, then carry on and watch the rest of this video. I just want to throw in one additional idea of my own. All the ideas that you're putting up on the discussion boards are great. There's no wrong answer to this. Everybody's going to have different thoughts. But I just wanted to throw in one thought of my own, which is about not so much the view of the far side of the moon, but about the view from the far side of the moon. I said earlier that wherever you are on Earth, at some time of the day, as we move through the month, the moon changes a little bit in terms of how much of it you can see. You're seeing the full moon or the half moon or the new moon, but you're always seeing that same side of the moon, and you are always going to see it from wherever you are on the planet. You are going to be able to see the moon. There's nowhere on Earth that you can go and never see the moon. But on the moon, if you're around that back side that we can't see, well, you can't see us either. And what strikes me is the view from the far side of the moon never includes the Earth. There could have been a civilization on the far side of the moon for all these millions of years that humans have been here, or for all the billions of years that the moon and the Earth have been going around each other. There could have been stuff on the far side of the moon, and they would never have seen the Earth. They'd know nothing about the Earth being a near neighbour. We take the moon for granted. It's right there. We see it all the time. But if you're on the far side of the moon, you would never have seen the Earth. And to me, that's an interesting perspective. There's a story, I don't know if you've read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books by Douglas Adams, but there's a planet and a people on there, the planet Cricket, and the idea of the planet Cricket is that the sky is so cloudy, the atmosphere is so obscured by dust or something, that you can't see the stars from Cricket. So on this planet, the people never thought of looking up at the sky like we do. They couldn't see a moon or stars. The sky was just black all the time, so they focused entirely on looking at their planet's surface. They didn't really have an up in their consciousness. And then one day, a bit of spaceship debris or something comes hurtling through their atmosphere and lands on their planet, and they look at it and say, gosh, where on earth can that have come from? And they look all around and they can't think where on earth this thing could have come from. And suddenly it dawns on them, it came from up there. And they'd never really thought about that. They had no conception of them being a planet in space and there being other planets and so on. And this was a huge revelation to them. And that's what springs to my mind when I think about the far side of the moon. That there are things you can't see from there. and that the view from there is different from the view, and different from the kind of view that we have from the Earth. And the reason that I wanted to start this module, this Inspirational Landscapes Extreme Geography module, with that exercise, that idea, thinking about the moon, is because for me that idea is a really good analogy, good analogue for what we're doing in this whole module. We're talking in this module about seeing from different points of view. What you see depends on where you stand. And we're also talking, and this is a massive theme for this module, we're talking about choosing what to notice. What you see depends on how you look, how you choose to look, what you're looking for. Choosing what to notice, deciding what's important, deciding on a perspective is a really important part of geography. And then when you've chosen that perspective, or for our module, when you've chosen lots of different perspectives and you look at things from lots of different points of view, well, seeing things from different points of view, you will notice different things. And that's what this module is all about.